Hello and welcome to the Nonic Nonsense Podcast, a show where the hosts are just as unhinged as method acting. I am Kat Gold.
I am Michael Materdomini, method actors. Oh God, what
I
a
can't.
legendary!
I anytime people are like, "I'm method," I'm like, "You are fucking unhinged. Like, you need help. You need a 5150."
You're not
There's
meth. You're not a method actor without doing meth. Okay, so like let's chill out. Let's relax. Stay away. Eat a cookie.
Eat a cookie. It's gonna be okay.
God, I'm hungry. That started off well. Hi guys, thanks for joining the Nonic Nonsense podcast. Now you know that I'm hungry and starving. Even though I could go upstairs and make food right now, my lazy ass is just sitting downstairs. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely not. We figured that today we'll just do a podcast of chaotic shit that we've caused, encountered, experienced in our lives as performers and humans on this godforsaken planet.
Yeah, if you really wanted to dive deep into what Michael was like before the theater in that kind of purgatory area when he was really depressed and working at a trampoline park and everything else going on there, you've picked the right episode because here we
Oh
are.
God.
God, it's gonna get dark.
It's gonna get fucked up. That's what this is just gonna be a chaotic, fucked up episode.
Yeah, my whole life was non-equity nonsense, and I didn't realize it until like I sat back and I was like, even when I'm not doing theater, the nonsense is still present. So it'll be a good time. I'm down for it. Okay, I think we should just let's start off nice and normal with some chaotic theater stories. What's one that comes to the top of your head when you think about them?
When I think about a chaotic experience, I think about Tom Tannock. And
Tom Tannock, the fuck is that? Can you explain that to me, please?
oh, baby, I will. So, so for the few of you that we're all working on this show in what, like 2015, everyone's having like horrible flashbacks. So I was working I was at Liquid Playhouse. This is like in between my junior and senior year of college, right? So I'm there. We're doing the Who's Tommy, right? Everything is going swimmingly. We're going through the run. The final day of shows. Now, the Liquid Playhouse is this it's a historic building, right? It's been there since like the 20s and stuff. And the pipes are also historic, clearly. So something was happening. I don't know if it was like a sewage issue. I don't know what exactly happened, but the toilets were like falling apart actively during the run of the show. And so on our final day, we have just started the opening number. The toilet in the dressing room starts to bubble over. It hasn't been flushed. But no, it's like clear water. It's clear water. It's not like gross situation like someone clogged it or anything. No. It just starts bubbling over for no reason. And at first, it's just confined to the bathroom. This 10-minute opening number is happening while this is going on. And then it starts to spread into the dressing room area. And then it just keeps going. And by the time we got off from like the first 10, 15 minutes, like we go on, we're like, it's a boy, Mrs. Walker, it's a boy. And then we get downstairs. The entire downstairs area, this whole giant dressing room area, is fully fucking flooded. So,
Oh no.
so and at that point, we have the woman in charge of the theater is like starting to panic, and she's like, "Okay, everyone, just grab all your bags, grab, like get the costumes and your wigs and stuff like up above, and like grab your bags and just like throw them into the scene shop, right? So we throw all of our like personal shit into the scene shop, so it's not touched by toilet water. So we throw everything in there. We've got our costumes up, they're like hanging like in the air. And so at first it's only like an inch of water. So they line all these planks of wood, like we're on a fucking pirate ship, planks of wood going across the entire. This is like I don't know, like this is like a 40-foot area. How big is that space? Like that
It's the backstage
it's
area.
massive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's the whole length of the stage
Hmm.
plus some because you had the stairway and like the backstage area, like the wing space to get up. So it's like this long ass like hallway of dressing room, right? And so it's an inch of water. So they have all these planks and they're going across the way, and then those get flooded. The
Oh.
water is rising above that.
Oh.
Our dance shoes are officially fucked at this point. So then and we take all the chairs, where we sit and do our makeup and stuff. So they line up all the chairs like on top of the planks, and so the entire show, as it just kept flooding, and they have like a shock vac or whatever as they're trying to suck up the water, but they can't do it while the show is happening
Yeah.
because it'll make too much noise. It'll go into the stage. So we're like we're climbing on top of chairs to get from like one side of the stage to the other because that show there was no like crossover space in the back like behind the psych or whatever. um no space at all. We took the entire stage for that show, so like we had to just climb on top of things to like keep from drowning. It was the last 10 minutes of the Titanic. That is what happened to the show. And like we made it through. The stage floor was soaked because all of our shoes were like just drenched with
Oh.
fucking toilet water. And so I will never forget that experience.
I don't blame you. It's like that's frightening. You were like, "Hold me, Jack." Like, are you kidding me? No, I mean, I haven't experienced anything crazy like that, but like, I did have someone bum rush the stage and into the woods, like pre-show.
What?
Yeah, so we were all sitting in the wings, like ready to go. Like Patrick was about to go out and make his pre-show announcement and like talk about the
Mm-hmm.
shows and I'm sitting there and I look up at the monitor for the TV on the side just to like glance at the set and I see like just someone out there and in my mind, I was like, oh, why isn't someone hitting Patrick with a spotlight yet? I was like, that man's got to talk. And I look over to my right, and Patrick's over by like the stage manager little setup, and he was like, who is that? And I was like, oh my God, that's not Patrick. I was like, are we at places? Like, I was like, oh shit, this show's starting. But no, it was some guy, and he was drunk off his ass, and he was like, singing up there. Like he was like, and I was like,
What? He
hello.
thought that this was going to be his equity moment. What the fuck?
I
Singing?
guess so. So like he was sitting there, and then like someone came up and like told him to sit down, and I was like, okay, that's the end of that. Like it's fine. Like he went and sat down. He had his little moment. He's a superstar. Give him an equity contract. And after that, Patrick was ready to go on again, but then he got back up onto the stage and he started to like move towards the props and the set pieces and all that
Oh
shit.
my god.
And when he came back up, everyone took off and in the wings, like everyone sprinted away. And honestly, don't blame them. Um, but for some reason, my fight or flight kicked in, and I was the dad in the show, like I was Cinderella's father, so I had my cane with like this metal fucking piece at the end of it. So I was like, have this bitch try to come in the wings. I'll beat the shit out of him. Like I was like my fight kicked in. But then he got escorted out by the police. And then like the show started after that. And Patrick was really funny. He walked out and he was like, I didn't know I had an understudy. Like all this shit. And he made the whole crowd laugh because everyone was kind of like freaked out. And especially in today's society, like that's some scary ass shit. So
Oh
like the show
jeez.
ended and like midway through, like someone came up to me and he's like, dude, that guy is still outside, like trying to apologize to the performers and like for causing a scene. And the cops are like taking him away and shit. And I was like, I want to meet him. I was like, how do you get
No,
the
you don't.
balls?
What the fuck?
I was like, how do you have the balls to get up there once, but then once you're asked to sit down, go back up? Like, even if I was drunk off my ass, I would still be like, I'm not going up there. So
Oh my god.
that's like something that I experienced recently. That was like last month, and I was like, that's the first time I've ever had someone hop up on stage before a show. I don't know. That was like something really interesting, but I was still like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of him if he comes in the wings. Like I was ready to defend my embers, my family.
Oh, that is so fucked. I can't believe that they would like try to get on the stage. We did have a lady in when we did Smokey Joe's Cafe, um this lady was front row, and like that venue, because we were in theater too at Stage Door. It was like a small, it's like a 75 seater, you know. It's like not a, it's like it's basically like a glorified black box. But it she listen, I love audience members that like want to participate, you
Oh
know, like
yes.
especially with like a jukebox kind of show like that. Like I want you to sing
Yeah.
along, I want you to have fun, you know, whatever. This lady was like trying to shake people's hands like mid song and stuff, like standing up. She's like dead center. She was like trying to like talk to people. Like she's like, I'm doing my big, like my 11 o'clock number, Fools Fall in Love reprise. And like she's like trying to like grab me and like crying. And like it was so sweet. I was like, lady, stop.
Don't touch
Lady,
me.
please. Like
There
I have
were
to go run backstage and get ready for another number.
yeah, there were some nights during Into the Woods where I don't know, like you go to Into the Woods, you enjoy a glass of wine. You know, you sit there and you enjoy the pretty music and you enjoy the gorgeous story. But please shut the fuck up. Okay? Like if I'm sitting there and I'm listening to Jenny Hacker's lines be said before Jenny Hacker actually fucking says them, that stop. And like it got really bad one Thursday night show. I don't know if it was just like happy hour out in the lobby, but it seemed like everyone was trashed because I knew it was bad in the beginning when they started saying Jenny's lines, and I was like, oh, we're going to be in for a show. And then when Michael Harper whacks Jack's mom in the back of the head, someone went, yeah, kill that bitch. And I was like, are you for real? Like I was sitting up there like, oh no. And then they were like, the giant's a woman. And they went, yes. And I was just like, this is the most unhinged fucking performance of Into the Woods I've ever seen in my life. It was so funny.
That we used to, when we did Rock of Ages, we used to get audiences like that. Like I remember, I think that show got an award at the Playhouse for like the most bar sales. So like during the show, like it was, the audience was raked, right? And you would just hear the beer bottles like rolling down towards the stage like throughout the show. Like people would get so fucking plastered, and like I that's the show to get plastered at, because honestly we were also plastered.
I need to have a running counter because the beer bottles are really bad at the Lake Worth Playhouse. Like there's a BBPM, like beer bottles per minute, like for how many times they drop it during a number. I remember specifically during Heather's, like there was this moment where Bruno and I we cling to each other, and then there's a pause, and then we go forth and love each other, you know, like all this shit.
Mm-hmm.
In that pause, it's like a 10-second pause of us just being like buffoons. I think at least 7 people dropped their beer bottles in that little like, and it was like ding, 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 and I was like, do we
it,
have Butterfingers out there tonight? Like, can we please hold on to it? Thank you, appreciate you.
it's so bad. Like the that whole theater was just like covered in like a thin layer of booze, like especially during Rock of Ages, because like we would encourage people to drink. We would get people like, so someone in the front row would always get like a cocktail, like, and like it was like part of the monologue, I think, like they would get a drink like immediately. So like it was just a fiasco. And of course this is community theater. I do not do this professionally, let me just make that very abundantly. But at the time, and now I'm sober, but at the time I was fresh out of college. as most of the cast was. And We so like opening night, Matt Buffalo, he comes back with like a bottle of Goldschlager, and we're doing shots before the opening of the show, and of course we do shots on stage, and then it got to the point where like I think our Sherry brought a bottle of Fireball, and like every night we would have like Circle of Trust, and we would all do shots of Fireball, and like we would go. It was so bad. That was the most chaotic like cast, because we would literally like go out every single fucking night because we were, we're living it up in the 80s. Everyone's playing strippers and rockers and shit. Like the amount of booze consumed by that cast is shocking. It was so bad. Like
You guys paid IGOT's rent for the month. You really.
base literally. Oh my God. But we actually got a discount from one of the bars. They
Oh,
would be like, oh, they would, even though it was community theater at the time, they were like, oh, you're Playhouse employees, so they gave us a discount because we would be there every single day.
fuck
And they were like, oh,
yeah.
you work at the Playhouse, that's why you're here so often. We're like, yes. but,
Yes.
but so it was so bad. Now I did not try to get like inebriated on show nights because I don't do that. Like I take my voice seriously, but I'm not, that can't be true for the rest of the cast because closing night, and we have videos of it too, which is like really the worst part because we didn't have videos from like the prior performances where we were in beautiful voice and like we sounded like amazing. So like they went out. I opted to not go out that night because I knew closing night we were gonna have like this big ass party.
Of course.
And so we so I don't go out that night. And apparently like they got so fucking trash when we showed up for our final show.
Okay.
I'm gonna say maybe three people had a voice.
Oh.
I feel like it was like me and Cartwright and like maybe Drew and Ashley. That was it. Everyone else fucking gone. Like it was so bad. No voice. So, I mean, the amount of opt downs in that recording, it's so bad.
I'm gonna switch it up just a tad bit because you talking about just like all this shit reminded me of something, and it's not like I mean, I guess it's a performance because my brother performed at his graduation, and I'm sitting out in the audience, and it's like early in the morning, so I'm already like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, go Mason, I need to go back to bed," like.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there, and this woman next to me is feeling the same way. Like, girly got up way too early. Girly needed to go back to bed, but for some reason, she needed a hot dog. Okay. So she got a hot dog at this graduation. And
Makes
I'm
me
a
want a
big,
hot dog real
oh,
bad.
girl, I'm still hungry. I talked about it in the opening. But this woman, she opens her hot dog, and I'm like, I'm a picky eater, so like I'll put like I don't even know if I'll put condiments on it, especially if I'm sitting directly next to someone. Like I'm gonna be the
Yeah.
nice person and not lather this bitch in
Yeah.
condiments. But no, this woman pulls out 3 packets of mustard and she like lathers it onto this hot dog and she lets the mustard sit. And then when the mustard is like on that fucking hot dog, it smells, right? And I'm sitting there, right? Like where everyone's in there packed like sardines. And the mustard is hitting me under my nose. Like that episode of SpongeBob when he has really bad breath and he's like trying to tell people secrets, and the guy's like, like that. Like
Yeah.
I was trying to hold it in. So this woman devours this hot dog. Okay, it's like a three bite process. It's like end, middle, other end. Like she was going to town on that bitch. Okay. And like I was like, that's the end of it. Like I don't have to deal with this woman anymore. But then she falls asleep next to me, sitting in this chair, and she leans over and her head fucking hits my shoulder. And I'm like, and keep in mind, my brother's up there like, woo, singing, dancing, woo, da, 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 because it's a Dreyfus graduation. And this woman is out cold on my shoulder. And
You
I
didn't like
don't,
shoulder check her?
so like I did. And she woke up and she was like, sorry. And I was like, you're good. don't do it again. Right? Right. She fell asleep. I kept count and I kept looking at my dad because he was like across from me. This woman fell asleep on me 4 times, Kat. I was like, girl, lean the other way. Your family's over there. Like, please leave me
Oh my
alone. So
God.
I had this woman with like mustard breath fucking sleeping and snoring on me the entire graduation. It was fucking awful.
I'm trying to think if I've had like bad experiences with someone in the audience. I will say when I went to see Great Comet, let me just say, Great Comet is not a show for everyone. But
No.
I was sitting next to this woman who clearly is, a major supporter of the arts. One of those people, a lot of money, nothing better to do with it, which I'm grateful for. We love old people giving all their money to theater, but this lady was so mad at whatever show she was watching. She literally, because like the way they had it set up in like the audience, if you were on like if you were orchestra, they had like little tables in between each of you, and like this lady was huffing and puffing the whole show. When it goes into the electronic section, she was like so furious that she spent money, and I just like kept looking at her like, go home, go home, you're so mad, go home,
It's an
you're
intermission for a reason, lady.
go, leave, bye, see ya. I'm
Don't
pretty
ruin my
sure they're
experience. Like,
just huffing and puffing, like, and like during intermission, she's like, oh, "This is terrible. What is happening to the state of the art?" I'm like, "Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up!" Oh, oh my goodness, I'm trying to.
what I went with my aunt to go see Book of Mormon. It was my first
Mhm.
Broadway show, and I didn't know anything about it. Like I was like, Book of Mormon sounds funny. It's written by the guys who did South Park, so like this
That's
should
a
be a
tricky
good
show to
time.
go see with your family.
Yeah, it was. So the first couple of numbers, I was like, oh, this is funny. Like, blah blah blah. And then they get to Africa,
Hmm.
and the fucking their suitcases get stolen. It's like, do you want to fucking die? And I was like, oh, we're in for it now. I was like, oh, here we go. And then we get to Hasadega Ibuai, and I was like, oh, this is funny. And I was like, kind of humming it in my seat.
Yeah,
I was like, this song is a banger. And then they get to the point where like they find out what it actually means, and I
yeah.
was like, oh, I had the same reaction that Elder Cunningham and Elder Price had. I was like, I was humming this the whole time. I was like, no. And then I got like, once the show ended, my aunt looked at me and she was like, we need to go to church. And I was like, and I felt so bad that like I looked up if Hasadega Ibuai actually meant what it meant, and it didn't. And I was like, okay, thank Christ. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to do like 17 Hail Marys. I'm gonna like my Catholic
Oh,
boy inside of me was like, oh shit.
oh my goodness. No, so I'm trying to think. My I didn't have that experience, but my mom, I was doing Stonewater Rapture as my senior show in high school, right? We got to do small shows. We could put them up ourselves during your senior year of high school at my school. And so I did a two-person show, and it's all about these like two teenagers going through like really horrific things in this like Christian fundamentalist community. And of course, the show involves like, spoiler alert, but I don't think anyone reads this fucking play. But it like involves like the bullying of a gay character. It involves sex. It involves a really horrific rape, like gang rape of this girl. And so the show ends where she and this show is it has a lot of content, a lot of strong content in it. My Catholic mother was like foaming as I'm doing this show. And of course the show ends where they decide to be together. He decides that he cares about this person enough that he will pretend to like basically be like the father of her child that she got due to this gang rape. And they start having sex, and that's how the show ends. So this is a black box. My mom is in the front row. She is about 2, 3 feet, and like my dad had to like hold her. This is my best friend who's like playing the person opposite me. But yeah, no, it like literally insertion is about to happen when the lights go out in the end of the
Fuck yeah.
Oh my goodness. By the time this podcast comes out, the holidays will be over. Do you have any holiday fiasco like things that happen like around performing in theater and stuff?
Well, I've never performed on a holiday, but this year I get to do one on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, if New Year's
Mm-hmm.
Eve counts as a holiday. I think it does.
Oh, it
Um,
does.
yeah. So I get to do Little Mermaid this year, and that'll be really special since it's a Disney show, right before Christmas. So I think that'll be awesome. I'm really excited for the Christmas Eve show. But
Yeah.
I did do a flash mob before Spelling Bee last year for Halloween. I got the
Mm-hmm.
call from Van Dyke Productions himself, and I was like, absolutely, sign me up, love you. And we had to learn choreo to Thriller and to Ghostbusters, and there was one other number, and I forgot what it was. But we would go out dressed as like the Stranger Things people, and
Mm-hmm.
we'd run out into the middle of a crowd during COVID,
Oh
and,
God.
and we'd go ahead and we'd perform the numbers, and our makeup wasn't like scary, but like for little ones, it was like a little bit on edge, right? So I get out there and I'm making
Yeah.
sure not to make eye contact with the little ones because I'm like, please don't look at me, I'll scare you. So,
Yeah.
the first number goes swimmingly. It's great. We go back and we change and we're in our Ghostbusters outfit now. And I'm like chasing these people around with like my fake little like laser gun. And uh, after we get ready to finish up the set, and we're waiting and we're waiting, and it's getting really close to the point where it's like we were only contracted until 10. So
Yeah.
if we're sitting and we're waiting, and Aaron Bauer's on a walkie, like ready to go. And at this point, everyone's done. Like we've been there since like 3 o'clock and just like waiting to run out and go do dances. And then after we'd run back into the room so we wouldn't, give our surprise off of
Yeah.
being, a flash mob because we're all wearing the same thing. So
Yeah. Yeah.
we'd go and we'd hide in this like little like closed down shop in like this outdoor mall. And we were hanging out in there and waiting and waiting and waiting. And we're all like, okay, this is the last number. And people are like, I'm ready to go home. And like honestly, I was in the same boat, but like I was like, we have like one more number. Like, why not just do it? If we go 15 minutes over, like I don't give a shit at the end of the day. It, you know.
Yeah. Paycheck's a paycheck.
Yeah. So I was like, I'll do it. I don't care. And then we get the call and we're like at places ready to go. And Erin Bauer just turns around to us and she goes, they canceled the last number. And we all went, thank fuck. Good night. we all packed up our bags so fast and dipped the hell out of there. I think because it was a big event. Like there was like at
Yeah.
least a couple thousand people there. So I was like,
Yikes. Yeah.
goodbye. And I sprinted to my car, and a couple people were like, we're going to Flanagan's. I was like, that's great. I'm going home. Like, I was like, you guys have fun. I'm going to go back to bed. So, that was a lot of fun. And I mean, like seeing the look on people's faces when they found out it was a flash mob was like super, super cool because they were like, oh my God, take out your cameras. Oh my God, clear the dance space. Like they were like doing all this kind of stuff. And people would walk up to me, they'd be like, great job. And I just have to react in character. I was like, look at that guy. So I had a good time doing that. But that was really the only holiday thing for me. So what about you?
I'm trying to think. What do I have? I have too many stories. But if we're sticking on the Halloween thing for at least for this, um, I've done Rocky Horror like 6 fucking times at this point. Like I've done it so many times. It really it feels like the season when we're doing Rocky Horror. So my UWF used to do Rocky Horror. They've just got back into it. The class after us ruined it for a couple years. But I'm shocked that we didn't ruin it because we would do a shadow cast, right? And it would be a big fundraiser. And we got this drag queen, very popular drag queen, like from the region that would come and play Frankenfurter every year, right?
Yeah.
And so we would do like a 7 or 8 o'clock show, and then we would do the midnight show, right? And we were all stupid 21-year-olds. All my stories involve drinking for this episode. Let it be known. I got stories, but but so we do we were before we came in for the night shows. All of us stupid fucking idiots went over to like the Tom Thumb to go get one of those big gulp kind of drinks, and we just filled it with booze. It's so bad. This is so bad. And we brought it onto campus. We brought
God
it
damn
into like
it.
at the theater. It was so bad. It was not good. It was not good. So, but we also weren't being messy about it.
Mhm.
And that's why, because the year after, the kids went messy and brought bottles in. And so they had to shut it down for a couple of years because they went too messy. We were like a good level of mess. So we do this show, right? We do the 8 o'clock show or 9 o'clock, whatever the fuck it was. So we do that show. We're fine. We're eating, we're drinking quietly, whatever. We get ready for the midnight show. And at that point, it becomes the rated R show because everyone has fully drank their big gulps of whatever liquor. And so without giving away this person that I love dearly, by the time we got into that second show, by the time the floor show happens, Wild and Untamed Things, um, people became wild and untamed things. Let me just say that a certain actor ripped off their corset, full nips to the audience,
Wow.
full nips, and
Wow.
two of our professors are in the back, running lights and shit, and they were like. and and the cop there was because they had to have police on campus and stuff, and this is a night where like people are obviously going to be getting plastered like that are coming to this event, right? So the cops like look at my professors and we're like, are is she allowed to do that? is that is that
Is this
like
what?
is this allowed?
Is this
and,
what
and
the
and like one of the professors was the then dean was like, well, she is above the age of 18, so I guess legally she's allowed to do so. This is not a sanctioned school event technically, so like I think they can get away with. But yeah, no, messy. But like I'm trying to think like the messy is my messy. Well, I've been doing quality contracts all the time. I'm usually like this is like my third year in a row where I'm not going to be home for Christmas and stuff. Like I'm always like, I'm either in Florida. Last year I was in Arizona doing like forever doing Christmas Carol. And then like now I'm going to be New Hampshire. But, so, but the best story I could think of was, when I was doing Smoky Joe's Cafe, and then we were told that we were gonna have it was like a 9 o'clock show, 9:30, something like that. It was a late show. It was a late show, right? Because they were like, oh, we're gonna because we had both theaters. It was we were running Smoky Joe's, and the theater next door was running Flashdance, right? And so they were like, we're gonna do the shows later in the evening. It was like a double show day, whatever. We're gonna do the shows later in the evening, so everyone gets out around like 11:30, and in front of the theater they were gonna have fireworks and they were gonna have champagne and all this stuff. So and we knew that Flashdance and we were invited to it because like they were in the bigger space. They had like trays of champagne getting ready for just the cast, right? And at that point, I I was having a while and out couple weeks because like we had opened the show, I had fully lost my voice, unable to sing, got the shot in the ass, survived. Our entire cast got sick, by the way. It's like eight of us, nine of us. We all got sick, every single one of us. It just bounced from person to person to person to person. And so, and then my friend, this is sad. My friend passed away like on like Christmas Eve, something like that,
Mm-hmm.
during this run, like so I had to literally go to his funeral like in between shows. I
Yeah.
literally like ripped off my wig and my mic and like I was still in costume because we were allowed to they wanted us to wear color. So and I had a blue dress for the finale. So I literally just like wig off, mic off, handed his stage management, walked out the door in my costume
Mm-hmm.
and went to the funeral and then came back for the night show. So I was done
Yeah.
with the year 2017.
Fair.
I was done. couldn't couldn't deal with it anymore. And so I brought an entire bottle of prosecco, right? One of the big ones. And we get done with our show at like 11:30. And so we walk in, we're watching the last 10-15 minutes of Flashdance as they get out. And so I make it my mission. I said, I am not going into 2018 sober. And I chugged a bottle of prosecco in less than 15 minutes so
God.
I could be so I could be buzzed. So I could be drunk. the
Yeah,
time
buzzed my ass. The fuck?
by
I,
the time the ball
by the time the ball dropped, I needed to be dead. Fuck no, Cat. Are you kidding me? No. Holy shit. I cannot believe you said I downed a bottle just to get buzzed. My fucking ass. My
my
shitty ass liver, I'd be fucking dead. Like, I'd be passed and deceased.
I think there's photos. If I can find the photo, I will insert it right here of I think Stephanie taking a photo of me as I was knocking back. And we're standing outside. We're like hanging out in the parking lot behind the theater because we were like, we're not dealing with the patrons. And like they all just watched me and they were like, do it.
Do it. Do it.
Bad.
I had
Bad.
I had one little thing before we got to switch up the segment here, but I there was this moment I got asked to do this event for I think this guy's retirement back in
Mm-hmm.
April, and he had this whole set list of songs that he wanted done. And, like it was his favorite songs, and then like it also he said it like described his businessman journey. So I got reached out to sing Frank Sinatra because, of course, like that's my comfort zone. Sing like any karaoke night, I'm pulling that shit out. And I got chosen to sing My Way, which is like
Mm-hmm.
why he wanted it. And it was like at the end, it's like he did it his way, like some stupid shit. And I was there with my good old buddy Michael Harper, you know, and we're fucking around and we're ready to do this event. And there's like feedback issues from the start. Like whoever
Oh
was running the
God.
audio in that place, it was not the best. So we're doing it and we get to me and I'm near like the end.
Mm-hmm.
And I get up there with my microphone and I start, and now, and then it immediately cuts out.
And
I get,
now silence.
yep, I get two words in, and I'm in this room with it's like a ballroom with like at least 550, 600 people, right?
Yeah.
And my mic cuts out, so I'm just like skrelting my way at this dude because he's in the front row, and I'm like, I don't care if anyone else doesn't hear, at least he hears it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm giving to him good. And then Jonathan Van Dyke runs on and taps me on the shoulder and he hands me another mic. Right? And like at this point of the song, it's like I did it. And then it comes out again, right on the second mic. And all I see in the back is Michael Harper with his head back, jaw open, laughing hysterically at me. Laughing. And I'm playing it off like a fucking champ. Like I'm smacking the top of the microphone and pretending it's working. This is the funniest rendition of My Way that has ever happened, ever. right? And I'm trying to get super close and like sing it like right in this dude's face so at least he can hear me. And I
Yeah.
I basically just like I'm like, God damn it, like the rest of the number. And like I finish it up and everyone's like, oh, God bless him for getting through the rest of that. And I go over to Michael Harper after and I start punching him in the arm. I'm like, you want to stop fucking laughing at me when I'm going through all this shit? He goes, yeah, I'll never forget him. He goes, I was laughing because if this happened to anyone else, I don't know how they would have handled it, but you handled it like a fucking champ. And that's why I was laughing because I knew you'd get through the rest of it. And I was like, stop trying to kiss my ass, Michael Harper. I'm still going to fucking punch you in the arm for. It wasn't even like a subtle giggle. Like, dude was full
Yeah.
on fucking chuckle house in the back of the fucking. I was like, I knew you were laughing hard when I could see you from the front of the ballroom all the way over like a football field's length. I
He
could
just
see
looks like a
you laughing
Muppet
at me.
bouncing.
Yes. I was like, you're an asshole. And he was like, sorry, it was too funny. And I was like, I don't blame you, whatever.
Oh my God. No, that's the trouble with being like the loud person. Like if you can project, you're like fucked. Like with both times. Both times that I did Tommy, Mike shit the bed. The second time it was just we like the mic was shitty and so they were like, well, one person in the cast is not going to have a mic. It's going to be Kat. But the first time, one of the fucking kid Tommies dropped his mic in the toilet. And so they were like, Kat. And I'm like, I know. Take the fucking mic. The rest of the run, I'm just skrelt. And we got a live band on stage. And I have soloist parts. I am skrelting for the love of God over this band. Like,
So
you are going to hear me.
would you say that you tried to flush this memory out of your mind?
Go home, Michael.
I am home.
Go further.
Go to stage door.
Go to stage door.
God damn it.
Oh my God.
So Kat,
Mm-hmm.
people know us as performers and people know
Mm-hmm.
us as, you know, tomfooleries.
Yeah.
So what would life have been like for you if you didn't like if God came down himself or whoever you believe in came down and was like, you shall not sing, dance, or act or do anything involved with theater for the rest of your life. What would you do?
Kill myself. No, I
Okay.
no. Um, um, well, I was supposed to be a doctor. We've talked about it before. I was supposed to be a doctor. Because that's what you do.
Mhm.
If you you got Filipino family members, you go into medicine. Um, if if I went by like my hobbies, like I would have gotten more into visual arts. That's like the one thing I regret about college is that I didn't. Oh, there's many things I regret about college. We can get into that later. But the one thing the one thing I really regret was not taking art classes. I was so busy with like completing my BFA requirements in a timely manner. Because I was taking like 12 to 15 credits a semester and I wish I could have done more art, like visual art classes, because I love that. I do that in my free time. If I naturally I think naturally as a person that's what I would want to do. I My dream is to be like in a cottage in the forest and never see another living soul again and like paint to my heart's content. Make art like without seeing people. That's my dream, but like that's not feasible until like retirement, which on an actor salary is like fucking never. But so what about you? What would have been your life? Trampoline
uh,
park?
no trampoline, no jump USA. So I worked at a movie theater and I worked at a trampoline park. Ha ha ha, giggle giggle. But I genuinely was like looking into sports broadcasting
Mm-hmm.
because I love basketball and I love the Miami Heat. As everyone knows, if you've been in a rehearsal process with me, I wear all my Miami Heat shirts to support them. And also they're super comfy and they're dry fit. So when I sweat in them, they like dry super fast. So okay, multi-purpose. Anyways, I would have looked into that and I looked into going to UCF for sports broadcasting and trying to, just broadcast during the actual game. So like when you hear announcers on the television, like I wanted to be like one of those guys talking about it.
Hmm.
But then I realized that my potty mouth would probably get me in trouble, like during those games, because if someone like hit a big shot or something, I would have been like, "Fuck yeah!" And then I would have been like, "Never mind, I can't say that," and then I would have gotten my ass fucking fired. But I had to like, I grew up, but I had like, we've already heard some trampoline park stories, but movie theaters, I could dive a little bit into that real quick. People, stop eating the popcorn at the movie theaters. I'm going to ruin it for all of you right now. Okay, you come in and you think that this butter is like actual, it's not butter. Okay, we already know that none of the food there is actually real food, but seeing how that popcorn is made me never want to fucking eat popcorn again, because it was the oil that was needed to like pop the
Hmm.
popcorn in the first place is in blocks back there. Like they're actually, it looks like Minecraft. Like there's blocks of fucking oil back there that are rock solid, like cinder blocks. And the way that my place like heated them up to make them usable is they would just fucking put them on like this electrical box back there to fucking heat up the oil for it to be used in the popcorn. And I was walking around like my first week, I was like, what the fuck is that? And they were like, that's the oil. It sits there to heat it up because we don't have the space for the correct oven. And I was like, this is fucking
What?
disgusting. Like, I was like, I hate my life here. And
Oh,
like,
oh.
I've had a couple, like, people talk to me terribly there. Like, I was like
Hmm.
the scum of the earth. I had this one dude, I will never forget this. It's a late night and it's like a Tuesday at 10. And I was like, dude, go home. Why are you at the movies on a Tuesday? No good shit is out. Like you're literally coming here to watch like something that is in the movies for like a week and then it dips. Like there's really nothing out. It's a dead period at the theater. It's like September. And
Yeah.
he's beyond handsy with his girlfriend in the line. And like, good for you, bro. But like, no, right? And I see him like
Stop.
I see him like three customers away, just like groping his girlfriend. And I was like, "Is wow, this is happening?" Okay. And he comes up to me and he was like, "Hey man, um, let me see the size of your small cups." So I put the small cup on the counter. I was like, "This is the size." And he looks at me dead in the face and he goes, "That's about the size of my dick." And I looked at him, and at first I didn't know what to say. But then I was like, Michael, stick to the script. So I looked at him dead in the face and was like, would you like to upgrade that to a medium for 25 cents more? and, and the look on his face, he was like, nah, I'll take the small. He dead ass said that to me. And at the time I was 18 and I was like, the real world, you know? And I met like a couple of celebrities working there too. Like a couple of basketball players came in, but my favorite one, I will always remember this one because it was out of the blue and it took me by surprise and I acted like a total nerd. I was at the cashiers for the concessions and I'm typing in like a food order or whatever for the guest that was previous. And this guest like, walks up and he's waiting. And all I hear is, hi, are you ready for me? And I recognize the voice and I'm like, who is this? And I look up and it's fucking Neville Papperman from iCarly. I'm dead ass. Like I heard Rue the Day Carly Shay in this fucking kid's voice. And I look up and I was like, Neville? And he went, he goes, shh, shh, stop. And I was like, dude, chill. I get it. Like, I'm fine, right? And on the inside, I'm like, holy shit, like, this is so fucking funny, right? And I was like, so what are you up to now? Like, I was trying to make small talk with Neville Papperman in the middle of a Regal Cinemas. And he was like, oh, I'm an author now. And, I'm like, I'm writing shit. And I was like, oh, that's great. That's great. Can you do me one solid favor and I'll leave you alone? And like, as like an actor now, I would have been like, fuck you, dude. Like,
Yeah.
but I was like, just like so excited to like actually meet someone that I grew up watching. I was like, can you just say You'll rue the day, Carly Shay. Just for me, just once. And he looked at me and he was like, you'll rue the day, Carly Shay. And then he walked away. And I was like, yay, thank you. But that shit was really cool. Like I'll always fucking remember that. And fuck Regal Cinemas because that place was like a hellhole to work in. My manager is an asshole. I will never like I wanted to do school at the same time as like working that job because I wanted to
Hmm.
like progress my education. And I gave
Yeah.
her my school schedule and she just scheduled me during the hours where I was like, I'm at school. So I'm going to school. I'm sorry, I'm going to miss my job. And then she has the audacity to call me in class and was like, why are you not here? And I was like, because I'm at school. I gave you my school schedule 3 months ago. Why are you scheduling me? And she's like, well, you better come in and you're fired. I said, cool, I'll bring in my uniform tomorrow. And I walked in with my
Jeez.
uniform with my dad because my dad was pissed too. And my dad, he's like, he helps with insurance and shit. And she was one of his clients. So my dad walks in first and she doesn't know that we're related. Right.
the,
And we walk in.
the last name didn't give it away.
I know, right? Stupid ass. And I walk in and my dad starts talking to her and I start to chime in. I'm like, here's my clothes. And she goes, Michael, I'm dealing with a customer right now. And my dad turns to her and she goes, no, 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 I'm his father. And the look on this woman's face was priceless. Fucking priceless. And she immediately switches her tone. Oh my God,
Hmm.
Michael, I wish you the best. I hope you win all the Tonys, this and that. And no, she goes, I hope you win all the Oscars. And I go, dumb bitch, it's a fucking Tony. That's what I want. Okay. Right. But I walked out of there and I was like, damn, that was fucking I just quit my first job. And my dad was like, you see the fucking look on her face? So it was that's always like a really fucking funny story. I mean, best of luck to you out there, Miss whoever. I don't even remember your name, but thank you for causing my life to be absolute hell. For you know what she fucking did? Sorry, I got this woman really made me angry. I asked for time off for Christmas vacation to go out with my family, not on
Hmm.
Christmas, but like December 20th through the 22nd, right? And
Yeah.
I told her when she came back, I said, hey, I'll work on Christmas for you to
Yeah.
make up for it. And she said, if you're a man, you'll tell your family that you can't go on the trip. And bitch,
That is
I,
bullshit.
I'm 18 years old working at a movie theater. This isn't a law firm. Okay. Right. So, like, I'm like, did you just really say that? Right? But I was like, okay, at least I got my time off, whatever. And I come back in and I look at my schedule for Christmas, and this motherfucker scheduled me from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Keep in mind, time and a half, and
Yeah.
I get to open up presents in the morning for like an hour with my family and spend it with them then. But I can't go to Christmas dinner and I can't do anything like that. And I'm like, you know what? Fine. And my job was ripping the tickets for 12 hours. That's not bad. When you work at a
Yeah,
movie
no.
theater and you're just ripping the tickets, I was like, fucking perfect. That's fine. I'll rip tickets for 12 hours. I don't give a shit. When I get there, this woman moves me from ripping tickets to concessions.
Ew.
The line is out the door and around the building because people like to go to the movies apparently on Christmas. And
I'm one of those guilty people.
yeah, you want to know when I got a break?
At 11 o'clock.
9:30 p.m.
Oh my God.
I the next day I walked out and I bought those compression socks because my shins hurt so fucking bad. I slipped and ate it on that shift. Some guy was like, "Hey, where's my fucking hot dog?" And I was like, I grabbed the hot dog and I was walking. I slipped on a puddle and ate it behind the counter. Like it was really like that shift was the shift from hell. And
Oh
the other
God.
manager, Amy, I love Amy. God bless her wherever she is. She was like, when's your break? And I was like, girl, it's 9:30. I haven't gotten one. And she was like, oh my God. I was like, yeah, you forgot me, asshole. So I when I put in that not even a 2 weeks, I just quit on the spot with that
Yeah.
woman. but that one I was like, yeah, stick it to the man.
Oh my goodness. That's too much.
Fuck Regal Cinemas. Go to AMC. Go anywhere else. Go to iPick. Fuck Regal. Has there any been a time where you've had to quit a show and then they reacted poorly to you having to drop it?
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. So
Oh, I struck a
I
chord. I struck a chord and cackled.
no, it wasn't the worst. It wasn't the worst. I no, I've turned down a lot of shows. I've
Yeah.
you know, usually for scheduling and pay. That's usually what it is. If I'm booked already, if I've already signed a contract, I'm not gonna be like an asshole and be like, unless it's something like really like crazy, I'm not gonna drop something. However, I did quit a show because of the content.
Okay.
Um, I did drop. So I originally accepted it because the cut that I got was fine, and then I got the entire script, and I just went, "This is not for me." It was like it was. I'm like, I do a lot of raunchy shows. It was like it didn't seem good spirited.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of jokes at the expense of children. There was a lot of jokes at the expense of fat people and queer people. And
Thumbs down.
yeah, and like I'm cool with like I can take a joke. Like I'm cool with that. Like I'm cool to be the idiot on stage.
Yeah.
But when it becomes like nasty, I can't do it. So once I got that full script, and I was going to be taking it like not at a loss, but I was going to be taking less than what I normally accept for a contract. So I just went, you know what? I thought about it. I was like, yeah, I can't do this. I can't in good faith do this. I'm not, I already know me, and I'm not going to get through this process like being a pleasant, great to work with person if I have to do it. So I turned it down. And like when I have to leave a show, like if I'm leaving a contract, I'm your best person, because not only will I'll give it to you straight. I'll give you plenty of time. I gave this person like a couple weeks time before the start. Like
Right.
there
Yeah.
was time. It wasn't like the day of or like mid process. I gave them time. But I will also suggest people in your area that I know of that are capable of doing the stuff. So I told this guy, I was like, "Hey, I'm not able to do the production, um, but I have a person that can do the same thing as me, right? Same whole shtick, whatever." And he basically hangs up on me, and but he does contact the girl. Now, this girl is a person that we both know that I went to college with, who is a very similar type to me that lives in that region. So she meets up with this person after they reached out, and he goes on talking the most shit about me. I mean,
Oh.
like talking crap about me. And she just sits there quietly listening to it, because like she's my friend and she knows. She's like, "Oh, I'm gonna tell her exactly what like the fuck you're saying." But so she just goes, "Uh-huh, okay, uh-huh, okay," through the whole thing, as he's like destroying me and my character, basically saying I wasn't good enough and all this shit. Like he was like, she was a last resort and da 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 da. And I'm like, I'm a last resort. Okay, sir. Whatever you need to say to like make your ego feel better. And so my friend takes the job, because she wanted to get into the industry in that region. And then she later quit
Oh
it.
shit.
But I have like had to drop shows and like turn down stuff and like just like direct hangups, like hanging up the phone mid word. I'm like, you fucking asshole.
That's crazy. I only had to turn down one show. I turned down Young Frankenstein just because of like timing and all that kind of stuff. And it was kind of like a godsend because everyone caught COVID in it. And I was
Yikes.
like, okay, good, I dodged a bullet. But it was just like for pay reasons. That was really it at the end of the day. And then scheduling, because I think it conflicted with spelling bee or something like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was really it. And they were very nice. So I didn't have any like, bad moments like that, but I definitely needed to hear if you had any because those are I like when
Oh,
people are stupid.
oh, I've got plenty. Oh my goodness. The amount of stories I have of people just like being rude to me, like in shows, whether it's, people on board, people, audience, patrons. Have you had an angry patron come up to you?
Yes, and I think we need to cement that for a part two and leave people on a cliffhanger. I think we need to cliffhanger people with this one because I think we have a decent amount of those. Yes.
Yeah. All
All
right.
right. Well, thank you for joining the chaos, everyone. Today was just like a little fun one. Like we get to sit down and like chat some shit like normal, but like,
Yeah.
I love our guests, but I missed my wifey, just a wife and hubby, little
Ah.
podcast. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
we had to get one out. Make sure to tune in to Nonic Nonsense every Monday on our dark days.
Hmm.
Come support our shows, Kat. If anyone is able to come see you and go ahead, shout out your stuff.
I'm trying to think. By the time this goes out, I think we would have just finished Disenchanted. I think.
Oh, well, you guys
So
are stupid if you didn't go see Disenchanted.
yeah, yeah, you're absolute fucking idiots. This is our second time around doing this show. If you didn't show up, I'm gonna be like haunting you.
Well, I know Little Mermaid will be closed by the time this comes out, but if Chorus Line is still open, come support Chorus Line, and come support Sister Act at Slow Burn Theater Company, and come see your boy dance and dance and dance and be a silly goofball. But that's it for today. So thank you again for joining Nonic Nonsense, and this has been Michael Materdomini.
And Cat Gold, sign off.
Stay happy, stay healthy, no COVID.